Welcome to the Fit Bridge, a podcast connecting you to conversations that help bridge you to success within the health and fitness industry. Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Fit Bridge podcast. As always, I'm your host, RC Hahn, and I'm so grateful that you're choosing to tune in today because I've never been more confident that you're going to take something away from an episode that truly impacts your life for the better. I am such a huge fan of our guest today, Dr. Seth Hickerson. He is the founder of My Steady Mind, which encompasses the Cognitive Fitness Bootcamp course, which I myself have successfully completed. And I can honestly say that it has been the most impactful, positively impactful tool that I've ever obtained as far as being able to assist in my mental and emotional health. We talk about neuroplasticity and the science behind how to actually change your mind, to hardwire your brain to adjust your thoughts, which can then in turn adjust everything else in your life, right? We talk about how to be more resilient, present, focused, understanding your why and your purpose, how to truly do what he calls these exercises, right? Mental exercises. This isn't a self-help book talk course. These are tangible action items that you can implement in your daily life to start living your healthiest, happiest version of who you are. I'm grateful you're here. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode of the Fit Bridge podcast. Hello, Dr. Seth. So great to see you. How are you on this lovely day?
Fabulous. How are you? Always great to see you.
Can't complain. You know, we're both big fans of the positive attitudes and gratitude. So we would have it no other way. I'm so excited for this conversation today. Thank you for taking the time to hop on here. I myself have completed your My Steady Mind course. And I want to start out by just saying thank you. Thank you for creating this curriculum, for being just a strong advocate in the mental health space. It is, crucial. And I think more so than ever, it's really been brought to light, the importance of that and the correlation between our mental health, our emotional health, mental, emotional intellect, and how that truly does correlate with our physical health. So one of the first questions I wanted to ask, of course, I was prepping for this. I'm like, I got my man, Dr. Seth, on the call today. What are some things I want to ask? And normally, I would come out the gate with anyone whom has created or, founded something and ask that question, like, why did you build this? Tell us the story. So then I was like, okay, I wanted to ask you, why did you create this or tap into the fitness space? And I said, well, wait, I'm a fit pro. I completed the program. Let me ask myself, like, what did I take from it? And because I know you're really heavy, this is not a new curriculum or new course. It's just kind of new to the health and fitness arena, but you've been in the, first responders, military, and a lot of other areas. So I was thinking, okay, I've taken a countless amount in the last decade plus of continued educations and specializations. And I was, those are always kind of relatable to performing with our clients. Right now, of course, selfishly as fit pros, we take what we learned in that curriculum and apply it. But My Steady Mind in your Cognitive Fitness Bootcamp is so introspective, so interpersonal on self-development. So I was like, okay, how does this help my clients? And then I was like, I want you to tell me how close I was. I know this is a little intro ramble, but I'm like, I want to know if I was like on, because I know confidence is one of the pillars in. So I was like, let me see how close I am. I thought, I get it. You created this because we can't pour from an empty cup. And as fitness professionals, we are passionate about changing lives and helping others. And it's very easy to get wrapped up in that space where we pour out into everyone. We pour into our clients. We pour into our family, our friends. We're natural. I think fit pros are natural givers, right? And then what do we have for ourselves? If we're not our best self, how can we help others? How far off was I in you answering the question of why you created this curriculum and why you tapped into the fitness space?
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much spot on with it, and as a fitness pro myself, and been in the industry forever, I've always been a high performance guy, a high performance coach for Navy SEALs, professional athletes, and it doesn't matter whether you're a Navy SEAL or a stay-at-home mom. Like, the thing that makes us be an elite performer is energy, and having good, healthy energy, so that we're just as focused at 10 p.m. as 10 a.m. And we talk about, right, the pillars of health, and so humans get our energy from 4 pillars of health, and having awareness and tools in those pillars. So physical health, which we're familiar with in the fitness and wellness industry, right? If I want to have good physical health, I need to have a physical health routine, lifting weights, and then I have good physical health and physical energy. If I don't, period, right? And then the second pillar of health, and we can talk more about this, but the second pillar is nutritional health. If I, as a human, whether I'm a fitness pro or Navy SEAL or executive, right, if I want to have good nutritional energy and nutritional health, I have to follow some kind of program and regimen to address that. Good nutritional health, good nutritional energy. The third component, spiritual health. If I want to have, good spiritual energy, I just have to believe in something, right? Whether it's God or whatever, and have a two-way relationship. And I get energy from that sustains me. The fourth one is mental health. And that's the one that most people, they don't understand that. They don't know how to train mentally. And it's the most important. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think the physical health is going to fix my mental health. And there's some, synergy there, but from a cognitive fitness, I'm a sports psychology, right? So I understand you have to learn how to train your brain like your bicep to maximize that energy. And so what a lot of physical professional, trainers and stuff do is we spend all of our time on this physical health, and we're pouring out into our own program and pouring out into our own people. But I just start to get tired and worn out, and then the people I'm working with feel it literally through limbic resonance, this energy transfer. And so, we wanted to help fitness professionals start to learn how to train your brain, right, for performance improvement, for mental energy, cognitive capacity, cognitive endurance. And so just so that you can be the healthiest and happiest person, let alone fitness professional out there. And then that gives you, more energy and clarity for the people you're working with. And that they literally feel that, and they pick up on it. And so that's, you're right. We can't have fitness professionals burning out,
Hey, which is so true. I think so. So moral, we're starting it off. If you're still listening, if anyone out there wants to be happy and healthy, and if you've ever felt like you're burning out or exhausted, keep listening, because I know Dr. Seth's going to drop some wisdom on how to achieve that. Yeah. So can you repeat those 4 pillars? I think those are really important. The 4 pillars: physical, nutritional, spiritual.
So I do, when I do keynotes and speaking and stuff like that, because I'm an educator, I'm a CSCS, Certified Strength Conditioning Specialist, Master's in Sports Psychology, Doctorate in Educational Leadership. So I just got this, believe me, I don't know everything, but I know quite a bit, especially when it comes to the body and human performance and mindset. So when I do speaking, I just want to kind of raise people's awareness, especially around mental health. So what I'll do is I'll get a whiteboard, and your listeners can maybe go through this on their own. And I'll say, it's everything all a human being wants to do. Every client we're training ourselves, we just want to be healthy and happy. I just want to be healthy and happy, right? And everybody deserves to be.
Yeah, that's the goal, healthy and happy. Right.
And those are attainable, but you got to know what the hell you're doing, which most people don't. And they're doing the wrong things to try to be healthy and happy. And so we're going to drop a little knowledge and tactics on what you can do. But so if you had a whiteboard, right, and I had a room of people, and I said, there's 4 pillars of health and this isn't my opinion, this is fact. There's 4 pillars of health where every human being gets our energy. And that's what human beings don't struggle due to lack of time. They struggle due to lack of energy. We're tired, we're exhausted, we're fatigued, we're burnt out, now more so than ever, coming off of collective trauma and a pandemic, right? So we're all struggling. But anyway, if I said, all right, I'm going to write a pillar of health on the board, and I want you to think about the first things that come to your mind. And if I wrote physical health, what will most people say? They'll say things like exercise, lifting weights, jogging, and working out. And I'm like, that's great. I'm writing those things on the board. I'm like, those are things that if you do those, you will have good physical health and you'll have good physical energy. If you don't do those, you won't, period. And then the next pillar of health I write on the board is nutritional health. And what do people usually say? They say things like, fruits,
take your supplements, eat your water, drink your water.
Fruit, vegetable, water, supplements, keto. They say things. And I'm like, great. Those are tools and things you can do to address your nutritional health. And if you have some kind of routine around that, you'll have good nutritional energy, good nutritional health. If you don't, you won't, period. Okay.
Doesn't work if you don't do it, kind of thing.
That's right. That's right. There is no shortcut. There's no 10x your life. That's bullshit. Anybody that tries to tell, the only thing that solves problems is training. And that's what we're teaching. That's
Consistency,
what
implementation.
Right. Self-help books don't do it. Motivational speakers don't do it. Life coaches, that stuff, that's consuming and streaming. You can get some benefit, but I'm about training. If you want to improve, you have to train. It means you got to put in the work. So anyway, we talked about physical health. We talked about nutritional health. The third pillar is spiritual health. And so what do people say when they hear spiritual health? They usually say, church, God, prayer, religion, and those are all good things. I'm like, yes, religion falls under spirituality, but as long as you spirituality just means I believe in something that ain't me. And I don't care who it is. And I have some kind of two-way relationship through prayer and meditation. That's it. And if I do that, I have sustainable energy. If I don't, you don't. Yeah. But those three pillars are kind of common knowledge to people. You can kind of figure out if I want to start working on my spiritual health, what to do. If I want to work, I can find that, right? The fourth and the most important pillar of health is mental health. So when I do that activity and I say mental health or I write mental health, what do most people say or think when I just write mental health on the board? Anxiety, depression, right?
Therapy.
Therapy, right. And that's my first point. That is mental illness. We as a society, and I can talk about why this is why it's stigmatic by design. And in our schools, especially, we don't teach people mental health is health. We teach them mental health is illness. And we try to force everybody into this treatment model, right? Because that's where the money's at. So anyway, I tell people, we put mental health and you see people, they're like, anxiety. And so they're noticing, like when I said physical health, you didn't say broken legs and diabetes. When I said nutritional health, you didn't say anorexia or bulimia. You didn't say these things. You hear it as health, but mental health is the disconnect. And so that's what I focus on, which is cognitive fitness training. What we do is training. It's not treatment. In all those pillars, physical health, there's a treatment pillar and a training pillar. They all have two pillars, and both pillars are important. Mental health has a treatment pillar, which 20% of the population needs based on the National Academy of Mental Illness. That's not me saying it. Every year they do an annual report that says X percentage of the US population has mental illness. Those people need treatment, prescription, psychiatry. They need that. 80% needs training. And so that's what I teach. That's what cognitive fitness training is. And so it's, when that term mental health comes up on the board, what people should say is, affirmations, thought stopping techniques, breathing techniques, meditation, gratitude journals. That's the squats and the dumbbells to train your mental health. And so that's what My Steady Mind is. It's the mental gym where you can get all those training techniques so that you can train.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah,
and then
I love that.
When I mentor and I coach and I work with people, that's my ultimate goal. It's never about being perfect, but it's just saying, hey, under each one of these pillars, what one or two things do you like to do? And then try to do that. Like for me, I always use my own example. I like the number 3. So basically you yourself or your viewers or listeners can think about this. Like, so under physical health, what 3 things do I like to do? So I like to lift weights. I like to box, and I like to do yoga. So those are the 3 things. It doesn't mean I do all 3 of those every day. Just daily, if I do one of those, I'm checking the box on my spiritual health or my physical health. Nutritional health for me, I do intermittent fasting. I drink 100 ounces of water, try to a day. And I try to be cognizant of my sugars and fats. I'm not on any diet plan. I don't try to, it's just if I do intermittent fasting, 11 to 7, if I try to drink 100 ounces of water and I just pay attention to my sugars and my fats, and I'm doing my physical, I can kind of eat whatever I want. I can, I don't have to be on any diet because it's sustainable and it's real. And that's the 3 things I like to do. Spiritual health. Again, I'm spiritual. I'm not religious, right? I believe in a higher power that I call God, and I have a 2-way relationship with it, so I do that. I pray. I'll go to services, volunteer groups. I got a bunch of different things I'll do under spiritual health so that I'm connected. And then under mental health, I've got this massive list of stuff that I like to do, meditation, breath work, biohacking techniques, visualizations, affirmations. And so it's just having knowledge of all 4 of those and then some tools that you can do in a fairly routine manner. And guess what? You'll have good health and you'll have good energy. If you don't, guess what?
You won't. Yeah, I'd say that's my favorite part of the course that really kind of separates it as so much application and techniques and things that you can take with you and do these activities, right? These actual trainings, right? It's not just talking about, as you referenced, great. You can absorb as much information as you want, but information is just information if you're not applying it. And then that leads to that point. Okay, great. I got all the information, but I want to apply it. How do I apply it? And within my study mind, within that cognitive fitness bootcamp, you're so heavy on providing the exact resources, the mental exercises, right? At first, like, oh my gosh, I have to journal every single day. I have to write this thing down, or I need to say this thing in my mind when I'm having this specific thought. But then just like physical training, you start seeing some results, right? You start getting a little bit stronger mentally, and it's not instantaneous. I don't wake up one morning and, say whatever these affirmations and magic, voila, I'm like mentally healed. I have no anxiety, no depression. It's like magic, but it's consistency, just like your physical, just like your nutritional, just like your spiritual, right? Over time, chronically, with that consistency, with applying these training techniques that I do want to go into a little bit here. But I know we wouldn't have any amount of time. We're just going to have to take the course themselves to go through all the awesome tactics.
I can give everybody a coupon code if you want to give them one. So
yeah, we'll definitely drop one on the outro, pop a link in later, make sure they're plugged into My Steady Mind. I want to go back a little bit. You spoke about awareness, and I know you also speak around mindfulness. Can you tap in just a little bit on your philosophy around mindfulness and what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. Mindfulness is it's kind of a hot topic word, right? A buzzword, and mindfulness is great. And what mindfulness literally means is it means I'm aware that I'm breathing. I'm aware that I'm present, right? I'm just mindful of everything I'm doing. I'm mindful when I drink. I'm mindful when I eat. I'm mindful when I work out. And mindfulness is great, but what I teach, and what cognitive fitness training is about, mindfulness is one aspect of it. It's not a mindfulness program, right? Because what we do is a performance-based training. A lot of mindfulness it's just teaching people how to basically relax and breathe, which a lot of people need to learn how to do, right? But our program is a program like I said, it's about action. It's about creating your steady mind or flow state. That's optimum performance, is when you live in the zone. And that's what we're teaching people how to do through, as we'll talk, the ECR, the IER, a very strategic approach. And so it's, that's what it's about. And so I try to help educate people out there, because they throw mindfulness around like it's the catch-all term for anything that has to do with your brain or mental health. And I'm like, no, that's, what we do has got sports psychology aspects. It's got military resilience training. It's got contemplative practice. It's got neurology. It's got all these different elements that make it up, so it's just help people understand the difference, because people are looking and that's where then mindfulness gets a bad rap, because people think it's just one thing. It's this spiritual based thing, and it won't work for me because it's against my religion. And it's just, North America, we're sideways with what we know about a lot.
We don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. We'll just keep on going within mindfulness.
Anyway, mindfulness is great, right? Mindfulness is great. It's something everyone should practice. And I say practice because I do it all the time, and I can still suck bad.
In practice. We're practicing, but never perfect, always just practicing.
Right. I always say all the time, as we talk about in the course, life's not about perfection. Life is about progress and probability. What can I do today or in this moment to increase the probability of a better outcome instead of a bad one? And that's all we're trying to do. And the cool thing about cognitive fitness training, relating it back to physical health, is if I'm deconditioned in my body, right, I can't read a self-help book and get in shape. You and I can't talk about.
Wow, I'm glad it doesn't work like that. A lot of fit pros would be out of a lot of jobs if you could just read it and boom, got biceps.
This is what's great, right? Because the truth is, if you want to change, there is no shortcut. It takes work, consistent work. And that's why most people don't do it, because guess what? That's hard, right? I always say, if you want life to be hard, do the easy things. If you want life to be easy, do the hard things.
That's a gem right there. That's a gem. Before we go into the ECR and IR, I want to chat about that, but I want to make sure our audience is familiar. You speak about, mindfulness and mental training. Can you elaborate on this concept of neuroplasticity and metacognition? And just kind of go into that, because I think I love how you put it. You say something, you say what fires together, wires together. And that was the first time because I'm really passionate about behavioral change. And that was, my specializations. And when I was actively training, I was really heavy in that wellness and behavioral change space. And they provide tons of, absolutely incredible resources to help change your clients' mindsets and habit forming techniques and strategies. But you, in your course, it was like that eureka moment. I'm like, what fires together wires together, and the brain is like changing. That's the science of it. That's the actual science. So talk about neuroplasticity, metacognition, what that is. Those some big words there, Dr. Seth. Elaborate for us on what those are.
I love, and that's, I mean, my, we're we have, kind of the best credentials you can have in the industry with this stuff, but just, we know what we're talking about. Right. And I tell people all the time, like, there's just a lot of noise out there, and there's a lot of people that claim to be things like a mindset coach, and they don't even know what a mindset is. And so what we're teaching people to do through cognitive fitness training is learning how to facilitate the process of neuroplasticity. And I'll talk through what that means, and neuropruning. And so first we'll say, well, again, like mindfulness, another buzzword is mindset. Everybody's a mindset coach, a mindset guru, whatever the case is. And I have a pretty quick way to find out whether they are or they aren't. So if you ask somebody what's a mindset and just listen to what they say, if they don't say, here's what a mindset actually is, it's the anatomical structure of your brain. It's a result of your brain set. So your brain set is a result of these billions of neural pathways that have formed over your life based on your exposure to stimuli, right? So that's the stuff that's in our brain. Our brain is just trying to form neural pathways all the time, firing together, right? These dendrites are trying to communicate, they're trying to fire. And it's a result of all the stimulus and our perception of it. If I'm saying I suck and I'm not good, it's not, that doesn't just, every single thought is an instruction. Everything we self-talk is an instruction, and it's trying to form these neural pathways. So if you say something long enough and strong enough, and this is what you learn in the course, right? There's a neural process called STIA. Stimulus creates a thought creates an emotion. Emotion is literally energy in motion. And then when you say it long enough or strong enough, it connects and it forms a neural pathway. So you say something long enough and strong enough over time, it creates neural bundles. Neural pathways create neural bundles. Then those series of neural bundles create a neural network. That neural network is the anatomical, physiological structure of your brain. That brain set is your mindset. That's what creates who you are, how you see the world, what you believe about yourself and others. Okay. That's just
what you're saying in layman's terms here. All these little thoughts that are going around in my mind every day since I've been alive, the things that I tell myself inside of my head are actually scientifically, those little thoughts are just wiring together and then becoming what I'm subconsciously not even aware of thinking.
Right. So what it's doing, and
so pretty much be careful of your thoughts, people. It's going to metacognition because
so that's metacognition, right? So neuroplasticity is that neurological process. And then metacognition simply means thinking about your thinking. That's something most people have never done or thought to do, right? There's two things that control everything in a human being's life. And most people have no awareness or control over either. Those two things are your thoughts, which control your mind, and your breath, which controls your nervous system. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have awareness and tools to identify and manage those, hold on, Sally. Your thoughts are all over the place. Your breathing's very shallow, and people just live in sympathetic state, fight or flight all day. They're in survival mode from the time they wake up until they try to force themselves to sleep.
Which is why probably we feel exhausted as a society. We feel confused. We feel anxious. We feel depressed. I mean, those are things that you go over, and we'll chat about that a bit. But, some of those skills, I know personally, I love this conversation because I think it's important we be vulnerable and open. Like I would be a full-faced liar if I came on here and was like, I don't struggle with mental health. I don't have anxiety. No, I don't have a depression. Yeah. No, hell no. I'm over here. I'm an anxious fucking mess like most of the time, And those strategies that you use, again, it's like, I've talked about it. People are like, oh, well, just don't be anxious. I'm like, well, that doesn't help me. Just, don't be depressed. Be happy. Okay. Thanks for the feedback. Like those skills, the exercises of the travel log technique. I know we won't go into what that travel log is. Take the course, learn about the travel log. It's game changing for your anxiety and depressive thoughts and taking control of what you're thinking and how that affects you on such a bigger level and just breathing. Just take a breath.
All of us are, I mean, and that's the thing. We say, we have all kinds of sayings at My Steady Mind, but one of them is our vulnerability is our credibility. Like all of us struggle, myself included. I can get just as sideways and anxious and depressed as anybody else because I'm human, right? But I'm fortunate that I know some things to mitigate it and stave it off and do these routines that kind of, again, just increase the probability that today I'm not going to be consumed by fear and worry and anxiety and doubt.
It won't control
You're
us.
get rid of it all. And what mental health training, cognitive fitness training does is it makes you feel empowered as opposed to feeling threatened all the time, right? Like I'm broken and I'm damaged. You're not broken. You're not damaged. You're just having a shitty day. You're just
trying to figure it out like everyone else.
Right. And so what can we do, in that moment? And I want us, when we talk about,
I think that's a perfect segue as far as you talk about routines and implementation. Elaborate on what ECR and IER are.
A lot of R's.
I didn't know how I was going to get out of that one. ECR, IER.
It's
Mike's yours.
It's the secret, it's our secret to success anyway. I've been fortunate to get to train some of the highest level people from NASA to Navy SEALs to, pro athletes. And they all know how important this is, the skill set, and they practice it. And so again, I always bring it back to kind of like what people are doing. Like a lot of your listeners out there, they're all like, oh, this sounds great. And they're maybe they've been starting to work on this, but they're just swimming in this sea of information and they're reading books and they're listening to things, kind of hoping something sticks, which you can get some value. But what we've done is cut through all the noise and My Steady Mind is the business. And so steady mind basically means flow state or the zone. And so how you live or spend majority of your time in the zone is through our formula. And so our formula is, and everybody that goes through the training, like we know there's one objective, right? There's not, what will happen? No, this is what happened. You'll create your formula, which is your ECR, that's your emotional control routine. So and it's going to consist of 3 things. So that's the little mental workout you do in the morning, right? To get your mental energy right, to get yourself present, to get yourself whatever you need to be. You do your emotional control routine that gets you steady as you jump into the day. And then that steadiness might last 4 hours or it might last 4 minutes, depending on what happens next, right? But you have better self-awareness. I'm able to observe my emotions, meaning I'm getting unsteady, pissed off, anxious, lonely, scared, depressed. And then when I have awareness that I'm getting unsteady, I deploy an IER, intermittent energy renewal. So those are the quick hitting, BAMO, the BAMO, breathing techniques. And, those IERs
I've been using BAMO a lot since I learned it. Thank you for that. I'm sure a lot of other people appreciate that I've been using BAMO also.
We can teach the BAMO breath and maybe talk about time traveling because that's 2 of the things that most people are struggling with. But so that formula, that ECR, emotional control routine, plus IER equals a steady mind. And so everybody knows clearly, what am I supposed to do, right? Don't let me try to figure out, just tell me. And then My Steady Mind is like the mental gym. So just like the physical gym, if I'm going to decondition and I want to start working out, right, I have to go to the gym, take my ass there. I got to go in, I got to pick up and try the weights, and it's going to suck. And I'm going to be pissed because I'm not turning into some supermodel in 2 minutes, right? Just like with mental training, people are like, Seth, I tried to meditate. Well, why am I not the Dalai Lama? I'm like, because it's, it takes for time. You're not going to, but the cool thing about mental training as opposed to physical training is you get results a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
You feel them and you get them a lot faster. But I go to the physical gym and I try all the equipment. Let's say I hate 70% of what's in there. I find my little 30%, and that's what I do my workout around. Same thing with mental training. So My Steady Mind throws the whole gym at you. You come in, you try all the exercises, and I hate visualization, but I love meditation. All right. I hate gratitude, but I love time travel stuff. You try it all out, and then you create your 30% you like, and that's your ECR.
I love that. It's a really beautiful metaphor. Yeah. Right. I see that. Mm-hmm. Taking what you like and applying it and what works for you.
Right.
Yeah. Within that, what are some of your favorites? I know what my favorite, my ECR is and what I do when I need to get steady again, but I want to hear what your favorite activities or practices are.
Yeah. I mean, the BAMO breath I use 1,000 times a day. The good technique, which we can talk a little bit about both those, I use a bunch, but kind of what I tell people, like, for practical purpose. Okay, Seth, how do you do it? Right. So, I mean, me, I'm a single dad. I've got 3 boys. I've got an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old.
You're not stressed at all. You're
I'm an entrepreneur, growing a business, so I got a lot of stuff moving. But so what I try to do daily, and again, it's never about perfection. I miss it. I can get sideways like everybody else, but So my kids wake up, you know, in the morning, like 6:15, and I wake up with them. And I'm not one of those guys that's going to get up at 4:30 and do stuff before my kids. That's just not happening. You know, I'll sleep when they wake up, and I go into dad mode, meaning I get them ready. I do their breakfast. I get their clothes ready. I just do my dad stuff, you know, get them ready for school for about an hour, hour and a half. And then we leave and we go to school, and I drop two boys off at one school. I drop the third son off at his school. And then in my car in the parking lot of the school, I start my ECR. So that's my, okay, hey, I've got the craziness done in the morning, and now this is my transition time before I jump into the craziness of the day. And so it's my little safe place in my car. And we always say it has to be three things. So the first thing I do is I pray. You know, I pray. That's me talking to my higher power, asking for guidance for the day or whatever I need. Then I meditate. Meditation is when I listen to my higher power, right? That's a big problem in our society. Everybody runs around praying, but they never sit down and listen. You know, you're just talking and demanding. You know, meditation is when we receive, we hear from our higher power. So, and you can do, I teach a lot of secularized meditation. So maybe I'll meditate on, you know, motivation, or I'll meditate on empathy. I'll pick a skill I'm working on and do a guided meditation. But so I pray for 5 minutes, I meditate for 10 minutes, and then I do a gratitude journal, you know, just real quick. That's my little 10, 15-minute workout. And it gets me in control of the day. It's like I'm putting on my emotional superpower cape. My mental energy is good. My intention is good. And then I go into the day, right? And sometimes that steadiness lasts 3 or 4 hours. Sometimes it lasts 3 or 4 minutes, you know.
Right. Sometimes you start, the car starts moving, someone cuts you off, and now you have to get steady again.
Take a demo breath, right? And so anyway, that's what you're wanting to do, is just, you know, find 3 things you like, find time to do it. It doesn't have to be right when you wake up or whatever the case may be. And then if you miss it, like I do, I'll be, why am I so pissed off? Why am I irritated? Why is everybody, I'm like, oh, I haven't done, let me just run real quick and do a couple breathing techniques. You know, you can readjust throughout the day, but.
Yeah, I love that. I think
yours real quick, and then we can talk about maybe BAMO and time traveling or something.
Yeah, absolutely. My fave was or at least that I have front of mind a lot, is the thought stopping strategy. When I was going through that exercise, and obviously I know I consider myself a pretty introspective, you know, individual, and knowing what I struggle with. And I really enjoyed that because it was helpful, you know, to see all of these things that I'm saying to myself in my mind. And then I kind of like merged together one of your focus strategies, where you talk about having a, and like presence, where you have like an icon or a bracelet or a thing or a word.
Yeah. Focus dot. Yeah.
The focus dot. Yeah. Something. So whenever I start having these thoughts in my mind, right, that are overwhelming me, I think of the song, stop in the name of love.
Yeah.
Before I wreck myself.
You rewrote it.
I changed the lyrics there slightly, and it makes me get refocused. It makes me take control. What am I thinking? How is this affecting me? I am good enough. I am smart enough. I am capable. I will deliver this. I will get this done. I am beautiful. All these things that, again, you just think for a split second, and then all of a sudden you're like, why do I feel incapable? Why do I feel low? Why do I have anxiety? Well, stop in the name of love for self before you wreck yourself, and think about the positive side of that. I am, right? Those affirmations. And then, so yeah, I would say that's probably my favorite, but I do, we have a 3-hour long podcast here. I want to make sure we ask our fiber segments. Now, you provided 3 really interesting, unique words for our fiber foundation moment. The 3 words you selected were presence, fun, and BAMO. Now, we've already heard you say this word BAMO. So let's start with BAMO. Why did you select that as a foundational pillar for success and closing the gap? And also, what is BAMO? I'm sure the people want to know what this guy keeps saying. BAMO.
BAMO. Yeah, and I love those. We'll talk about those 3 words. But BAMO is it's the first breathing technique we teach at My Steady Mind, and it means breathe and move on. So again, a lot of mindfulness stuff will just have you breathing, which is good, but this is a program of action, and life comes at you. So you need to breathe and move on. So BAMO. And what it is it's a 4-second, it's the fastest biohack you can use to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So I'll nerd out real quick. So when we're stressed or we're anxious or pissed off or whatever the case is, all we've done is we've activated our sympathetic nervous system. You know, our nervous system goes sympathetic, means I'm pissed, anxious, that's fight, flight, or freeze. Parasympathetic, the parachute, that's what calms us down. So if I'm mad at somebody or something, or scared. The only thing that's going on is my sympathetic is engaged. And so that's where I feel anxious and uncomfortable. So have awareness that that's happening. Okay, I'm scared, I'm anxious, whatever. Think or say BAMO, and then do a BAMO breath, which I'll lead you through. And what you're doing with a 4-second inhalation, you have to breathe 4 seconds in through the nose, down into the stomach, really down in the lungs, because you have to hit the diaphragm. The diaphragm sends a signal to the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve activates the parasympathetic, the parachute, rest and digest. So when I'm running hot, I think or I say BAMO, and I do a 4-second inhalation through the nose, counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out of the mouth, 2, 3, 4. And it gets the parasympathetic engaged. It's just, all I needed was just a little quick timeout, just a little break from this madness to get me back into it. So that's a BAMO breath. And it's a call to action. So you see a friend, hey, BAMO, and have fun with it. And BAMO, again, I use it. I mean, it's just, it's when you train this way, it becomes automated. That's automatically, I won't have to think about it. Eventually, just the onset of stress, my body will take that breath. So the stress doesn't even get to enter the hopper and ruminate, Yeah. And so the BAMO breath it's kind of our war cry at My Steady Mind. And it's the thing that, gets me out of more shit than I put myself into.
Yeah, agreed. I'll second that. We're for two here. Agreed. Full agreement. And then you also selected fun and presence. Chat with us about those two foundational words.
Yeah, I'll talk first and foremost about presence, and again, it comes to your point, like at My Steady Mind, we teach people how to improve skills, because presence is a skill, like gratitude is a skill. You can't just come up to somebody and be like, hey, Reagan, just be grateful. Oh, okay. We have a negativity bias. It's hard as hell to be grateful. I can't
have to take a BAMO breath if somebody ran up to me and said that.
And so presence, in my opinion, is the most important skill. It's the skill. I truly didn't know how to be happy until I learned how to be present. And so we say it kind of, but I'm 100% honest. Like, this was up until just like 8 or 9 years ago. Like, I didn't know how to be happy. I thought happy was in things, right? If I get that promotion, if I get that raise, if I get that job, if I get this, that's conditional happiness. And we're conditioned to think that, then we get that new house, we get that new car, and we're happy for a minute, and then we're upset and it's on to the next thing. And it's just this endless pursuit of happiness. Happiness isn't something you should have to pursue. Happiness is something that you should just be, right? But you can't be happy until you learn how to be present. And so why most people aren't present, I'll just give you a tactic on that, right? Because what we do is we're time traveling all the time, right? And this is going to help most of your listeners understand why they constantly feel anxious and depressed. It does not mean necessarily that you have anxiety or depression. It just means you feel anxious and depressed. And it's because we're never present, because we're always time traveling. So what that means, somebody could be sitting in a conversation or at work, and then I start thinking about something in the future. Maybe I'm bored working on this thing, right? And I start thinking about something I need to do in an hour or in a week or in a month or whatever. And we have a tendency to think in the future, and we think negatively at worst case scenario. So if I'm thinking about a future stimulus and thinking negatively, it activates my sympathetic nervous system in the moment. My brain doesn't know I'm worried about a future stressor. It just knows I'm stressed. So now I'm trying to work on this thing. I'm thinking forward, and all of a sudden I feel anxious. That's called state anxiety, right? So now I make errors on what I'm working on. I feel anxious. So when we travel forward, we do that. It makes us feel anxious. When we travel backward and we think, oh my God, I can't believe I did that yesterday. I screwed that up. I can't believe I said that. We go backwards. It makes us feel depressed in the moment. So most people that don't understand presence, they're never present, which means in the conversation or whatever they're doing, or working with a client or whatever, because they're somewhere else in their mind. And so we use a visualization tactic, a stop sign, or you could do the stop in the name of love, right? I'm aware that I'm traveling, I'm somewhere else. I need to say or do something. Stop. Picture a red stop sign, sing that song, bring myself back to the present moment, wiggle your toes, be where your feet are. One of the things I always say when I start doing it is, if it's like Wednesday, I'll say, hey, Seth, it's Wednesday. Go do Wednesday things. Mm-hmm. I can't do Thursday things. I can't do Tuesday things. I can do Wednesday things. So presence, when you work on that and you truly become present and you're in the moment, I think it extends your life by 100 years.
Absolutely.
Because that's what happens when I read all these, and I'm a nerd, right? I like to read studies and stuff, and these end of life studies, that's one of the biggest regrets people have, is they say, I feel like I missed it. I was too busy. I was trying to do this, and now I'm 85, and I missed it. I missed my kids. I missed the vacations, and I don't want people to miss their life. You know,
Right. Too busy making a living and not making
right,
a life.
right. And so you have to learn how to be present, and it's hard as shit. It's hard.
It is. The travel log exercise
Right.
is one of my faves.
Well, yeah, you
Also,
have to do that. That's what this emotional intelligence training is. It's inward facing. I got to look inward, right? School is all IQ, outward facing learning. We need EQ, and that's where we look in. And it's okay to say, "Hey, man, I time travel this way. Hey, I think like shit all the time. I have negative. We all do, but have awareness of it. Give yourself some space and grace of what you find, because we're all screwed up, and then do something about it, and you'll become more present. And ultimately, that's going to help you have more fun, right? That's my third one, fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
And
let's stick with the fun and not you and I both go down the rant on how education doesn't teach
no,
EQ and on IQ. We'll leave that one alone. I know we're both passionate about emotional intelligence.
But I think that,
let's chat about fun. What's fun?
I love, my mom used to always say, if it ain't fun, forget it,
I like your mama. Yes, Mama Hickerson. Come on.
She was awesome, and that's what life is meant to be enjoyed, and sometimes we just get so caught up in the stress of work and life, and all of us have stressors, right? I'm not saying, hey, just go out today and it's all rainbow and lollipops. I hate toxic positivity. That's bullshit too. You can't just out affirmation everything. Some things suck, right? But if you can be more cognizant of your thoughts, you can be more present, you can commit to training and doing these things, you'll just enjoy things more. And life is meant to be fun. It's, have fun along the way, and be around fun people. Don't be around negativity, energy vampires.
Yeah, that's probably why we chat as frequently as we do. Energies attract. Yeah, we always have fun time.
You can feel it. Literally, that energy transfer, it's called limbic resonance. That goes a long way. And so, but that's what I kind of live by. I try to be present as much as I can. I try to have fun with what I'm doing. I try to find, the good and bad situations, and I do a shitload of Bambo breaths.
You heard it here first, guys. A shitload of Bambo breaths is the key to health and happiness and success.
Speaking of focus, I got it on my arm.
I know that's a whole nother podcast where you and I could go into our ink stories. That's a special episode. But I want to ask you the question we ask every guest on the FitBridge podcast. And I'm excited to hear your response here. What do you wish you would have known? What does time traveling in a good way, go back to 25-year-old yourself? And what do you tell you? What do you wish you would have had known?
Go easy on the booze.
Damn it. Well, this episode's now over. Can we edit that out? I didn't want to hear that. Seth, change your answer. No, I'm kidding. But why do you say that?
Honestly, I thought about that and I was like, what was the one thing? And I just, I probably would have had to go back further than 25 years, honestly. I had great parents. I had a lot of good things going on in my life, but everybody has a fatal flaw, everybody. And I think your goal in life is to identify what is that fatal flaw. Don't judge yourself, but just what is it? You can have a lot of other flaws, but what's my fatal one? and alcohol, that was it for me. And that was it when my story as you do, it caused a lot of problems and I lost opportunities. And so not that I didn't have a shitload of fun along the way. That's why I say go easy, not don't drink.
Balance.
I would have just said, hey, Seth, hey, let's just go a little easier on this for the next couple decades, and so, and that would have, but, it's also where I'm at now. And I think about it, I'm kind of glad that somebody didn't tell me, because it took what it took, to get to where I'm at now. And so it's nothing that's stuff to be ashamed of. It's a part of my fabric and my being. Or I would have, what somebody would typically say, hey, invest in Apple, that might've been some good advice 20 years ago.
Here we have him. He is a multi-dimensional guest. He's dropping stocks. He's dropping education in every space. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, for sharing all that wisdom. I want to end with one of my favorite quotes that you say in one of your chapters. It says, through this training, you are learning how to love your emotions, manage them, observe them. You don't need to run away or escape from them anymore. And I had it printed out That is a reminder to me. And I just think that that is so beautiful. And I hope that all of our listeners, take everything that we said today, and especially that you don't need to run away from your emotions. You don't need to escape them anymore. Something like the My Steady Mind course can help you really take control. And that's how I feel. I feel more empowered. I feel more capable. I feel more present and grateful, less stressed, less anxious with a lot of these strategies and techniques. So thank you again for putting together this incredible course, for tapping into the health and fitness space. Just go check it out. We'll drop the links after, and I know we'll chat again soon, Seth. Take care.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed something from today's conversation, let us know by giving this episode a like, chatting in the comments, and sharing it with your friends. We always love to hear from you, so you can send email messages to podcast@fibr.fit and connect with us on Instagram @FitBridgePodcast for even more exclusive content. Special thanks to our friends at Winner Productions for all things audio and post edits. And on behalf of the entire staff here at Fiber, it's been my absolute pleasure helping bridge community to opportunity. Until next time, make sure you click that subscribe button for more episodes and go download the Fiber app today for all of your health and fitness industry needs.